the journals, art projects, organized planner sheet.
Well, hello planner babes, and welcome to Organized Planner Chic. I'm Lucinda, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so and select the bell for notifications. Well, first, I want to thank all my awesome Patreon members who help make it possible to create videos like this. Well, thank you guys so much. And if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/organizedplannerchic. Now, before we get into today's project, let me tell you guys about the sponsor for our current spring planner DIY series, and that is Emerging Green. It is the same company that blessed me with the 3 eco-friendly recycled paper spiral notebooks, you guys, and they were kind enough to send me these awesome green garden clogs. Aren't they spectacular? They're green, which you know I love, and they're super comfortable, and I use them anytime I go out into my garden, whether it's the back patio or the front patio. I'll put the coupon code across the screen and the information so you guys can check them out. Okay, you guys, what we're doing today is doing some DIYs for this Dollar Tree Traveler's Notebook, you guys. I know it's really cool that they have a couple of different designs there. They're not fancy at all, and so I just thought that I would spruce it up a little bit. I do like the print on this one and on the other one actually. And so what I'm going to do is add a couple of pin loops that I'm going to make out of duct tape. Yes, you guys, I haven't made pin loops out of duct tape in ages. I have a DIY pin loop ideas video that I will put across the screen for you guys and link in the description below for all different types of ways to create pin loops. So what I did first is I just cut off about twice as much, well, not twice as much, about the full amount that I thought I might need to create the pin loop of the duct tape, knowing that I was going to fold it over. And I just used whatever pin that I thought would be a typical size that I might have in here as a reference, and just to make sure it's the length that I wanted it to be. And then I took another little piece from that and wrapped it around the end that had some exposed tape because I didn't want any stickiness to be anywhere, and I just wanted it to look pretty clean all the way around. So that's what I'm doing right there, and then just checking to make sure the opening is still the way I want. Now in the end, and at least in my thumbnail photo, I took out these are Pigma microns, or this is a Pigma micron. I didn't use that to keep in there because that silver part on the Pigma micron is really tight, and it just kind of catches sometimes on different pin loops depending on what kind you're using. So I didn't wind up using that for the long term, but it was a good reference. It's about the same size as other pins that I use. And so then I just, as you can see, everything looks like it's about a good size, and then I marked on the inside of where I want the first pocket to be with a pin just to know where I wanted it to stand or where I want to glue it. And these don't lay open very flat at all, which I know a lot of travelers notebooks don't, but it is just really tightly closed. So I used a big binder clip on the left where the inserts are to hold that down, and then I just took another one. These are pretty heavy ones. On the right end is kind of far over to help it stay open so I could do this. Now I'm not using Mod Podge, which you know I like to use a lot, which would have been ideal for this project because I am almost completely out, and what I have left is really chunky and nasty, and I need to go to the store and get some more. So I'm using some Dollar Tree really strong tacky tape, but it is a kind that takes a long time to dry. It kind of takes about as long as silicone takes or E6000. So I set a glass container on top, then I set a planner on top of that. It's still not going to be dry in the very end, but I'll tell you about that in a little bit. And then I just took the clamps to kind of hold it down all the way to the edge for now. And then you'll see later I'm going to kind of move it every maybe 30 minutes or so for like about 1/8 of an inch. So, but now I want to make this tassel, you guys. So I'm making this a little bit differently than I normally would in terms of the style, and you'll see. So this is the other Traveler's Notebook from Dollar Tree, and I'm just using some yarn that I actually got from the 99-cent store a while back. It's kind of an odd color, sort of between an orange and a peach, maybe. Kind of a coral color, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's about a coral color, but I think it'll match pretty well with the Traveler's Notebook. And I just wrapped it around there, and I wasn't thinking straight right here, trying to figure out where I should tie this thing. I could have just tied it in the middle. I don't know what I was thinking. So now I'm just going to cut the end, which I wrapped the yarn really too tight around here. So I'm just going to cut one end, and then I'm going to pull that out, and then take my piece of yarn and tie it through the center. And I'll just kind of adjust the yarn to try to get it as close to the center as I can. So I'm gonna just kind of tie it right here somewhere, not somewhere, but pretty close to the center, and then I'll just adjust that after I get that tied. So then you see right there, I'm just adjusting it before I completely tie it into a knot, because it's a little too long. That way I just figured it would be easier when it's time for me to trim it if I get it pretty even. And so I'm just tucking it in here to tie a knot, which can kind of be hard when you want a really tight knot around all of this. I know there are pom-pom makers out there, and I wonder, do you guys know, are there tassel makers? I just thought about that when I was working on this project. It'd be easier to tie those tight knots, you know, when you don't have someone to put their finger there to get that really good, nice knot. And so I made sure I had a lot of extra string for adding this to the Traveler's Notebook later there at the top that I tied the knot on. And then periodically I'm just kind of using my fingers, or was using my fingers, to comb through the yarn. So now I'm just taking another piece, and about an inch or so, maybe an inch and a half down, I'm tying this piece around there to kind of have that, I don't know what you call that, kind of the puff ball or head of your tassel. And then I'm going to double knot right here as well. And I'm just speeding up that part because it's kind of hard to get it tucked in there and still have everything really tight, as you guys know if you've ever made a tassel. And so now I have that piece that I tied, and I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to trim it to match the rest of the pieces yet, or at all, because there's something that I want to do with it later, and you guys will see. So I'm just kind of combing out places with my finger where it is kind of looped around, and also the ball, the top part, that kind of head that I was talking about. There's some places where it's puffed up, and I really want to try to straighten that out. So I'm just trying to find the strings that I need to make that look a little bit neater. And so I'll just speed that part up as well. And you see me just kind of combing with my finger to try to make it look all really nice and neat. It's probably a little too fat. I think I made the tassel bigger, but it's still really cool. I think it's fun. So now I'm just going to take my fingers and kind of measure down to how much excess that I think I want to cut off. And if you guys know of an easier way to do this as well, or like I said, if you know of a tassel maker out there, let me know, because you know you have to kind of keep trimming until you feel like everything looks pretty even. When you see spaces that look like they're sticking out too much, then you trim it down a little bit more. And it's also a little longer than I wanted it, I think. In the end, I'm going to wind up adjusting that. So now I want to add this little charm. It's just a peace sign that I've had for forever from Michael's. You know, there you can buy sets. Well, you can do that at Hobby Lobby also, and at Joann's, where they have sets of charms. It'll be like 6, sometimes 12. I think this set actually had 12 pieces for like $2.99 or $4.99, which is really cool. So I had this one, and I just tied it around that extra piece. Not really extra piece, but the piece that I tied to make the head of the pom-pom. And so I tied it into bunny ears, and then I doubled that, you know, like a shoestring tie or shoestring knot. And it was a little bit of a challenge because the strings are short, because I didn't want them to be too long. I didn't really want that bow to stick out beyond the width of the head of the tassel. So it was a little bit of a challenge to double tie that little tiny bow. And then I see I still have a little bit of excess sticking up there, and so I'm just going to trim it. I'm only going to trim it one more time at the end after I tie everything to the traveler's notebook, because it's just too long to me. And so then that'll be my last session, I think, of trimming this tassel. Yeah. So now I want to put some beads onto both of these strings here at the top, and it's kind of hard to get yarn through those beads. The holes in the beads are pretty wide, and they are easy, or they've been easy when I've used elastic on things or to tie things to the traveler's notebook on the outside, but the yarn just won't move like that because it's just not stiff enough. So what I'm doing is, at first I was trying to tuck it in there and couldn't get it through. Then I decided to use a little bit of tape around the end to tuck it in there, which is what I'm doing right here. And then at some point I'm going to be doing that and finding that I need a little bit more tape. I just need it to be longer. So right here it worked out because this piece of wood, or this wood bead, is not very tall. It's short, you know. And but then whenever I got ready to do a much longer piece, I had to add more tape to have a longer section with tape on it to get it to go all the way through. But yeah, so now when I'm putting this bead on the other string, I find out, or discover, I guess I forgot, that these beads from Dollar Tree that are the same color aren't all, the round ones are not all exactly the same size. Like, some of them are noticeably smaller and noticeably bigger. So I had to find one that looks like it was close to the size of the other one for what I want to do. And as you know from my previous videos, sometimes those holes for the beads aren't open, or not fully open all the way through on the other side. So then I just take my awl and open it up a bit more, and then I can get things to go through there. Sometimes I had to really twist that tape in a lot to get it narrow enough to go all the way through, but it eventually worked out. Yeah, so there I've got those two. Now I'm getting ready to do the longer beads. So of course I have to open it up some more with the awl, which is totally fine. I'm used to that. I've been working with these Dollar Tree wooden beads for ages, so I am used to it. But then my tape was, like I said earlier, there wasn't enough tape for the length that I needed to go all the way through this wooden bead, so I'm just adding some more tape, y'all. My Dollar Tree pink swan tape dispenser, which I love. I just think it's so cute. So yes, I'm just gonna put that, and then I should be able to get this long wooden bead through there. Yay! And so then I will have the round green, the oblong yellow, and then kind of a squarish or cube of a blue bead, and then that creates my pattern for this really cute tassel. So now I just need to get both strings underneath the elastic that holds the inserts, and I'm just going to tuck it under there. It was a little bit of a challenge at first because it's pretty tight. The elastic is pretty tight in these, but I do get it in there. And then I'm just going to tie, once I get them both through there really well, then I'm going to tie a knot. Well, first I can't really tie a knot at first because I've got both strings going underneath that elastic. So what I wound up doing after I got both strings through there is I'm going to take one of them and tuck it into the opening right there. Yeah, and now I can tie a knot to hold it in place. I really wanted to tie a bow, so that's what I'm going to do at first, but then it didn't look good. And the reason why is because if I had a double bow, then I could easily undo the bow if I wanted to ever take off this tassel and put something else there, but it just looked crazy. So I'm going to triple knot it to hold it in place, and then I'm going to cut off the excess so that you can't hardly tell that there's a knot up there. And then it is successfully there, and so I will probably never now take this tassel off. And so it's too long. I didn't want it to hang past the traveler's notebook. It just looked too long to me. So now I'm going to cut off excess one more time, or at least I'm going to have a session of cutting off excess one more time. So yeah, I didn't quite get it. As you can see, there's still a piece sticking out. Yeah, but then it is cute. It is. I just feel like it's a little too fat, but I don't know. Sometimes I look at it from one angle and I think, no, it's perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I like it either way. I just sometimes think it's a little fat. So yeah, I think I'm finally about to be finished trimming this, hopefully. Yeah, because I'm tired of looking at myself do it. I think that's where parts of my perfectionism come out still. You know, I am 95% better than I used to be. I'm really good about not being a perfectionist anymore, but there's still a little bit there. So I do want it to look cute though. You know what I'm talking about? And then the little charm too. I wanted it to always lay kind of in the center so it would be noticeable, and it likes to move around, but that's okay. Okay, so now what I wanted to do is kind of check the pin loop, and then here I'm going to move the clip a little bit further up. Yeah, right there, to put some more pressure on the glue. It's still, the front one is still not going to be stuck enough, but that's okay. And now we're going to make a little charm out of some Dollar Tree sticker, out of a Dollar Tree sticker. And I shared this in a recent haul as well. And these are the ones that have the mounting tape. They have it at the underneath the sticker, you know, to stick stuff to, and between two layers. I'm going to leave the two layers on this because it looks good, and it's not going to be on the inside of the traveler's notebook, so it's not going to create a bunch of height in the planner. But I took off the bottom one because I'm not going to stick it to anything, of course. Well, I am, but I'm going to stick it to just some cardboard, which is the back of a greeting card, just so that the area that had the stickiness is covered, so it looks all clean on the back. I could have actually used a piece of colored cardstock or just colored craft paper so that when it flipped, there'd be color on the other side, but I didn't think about that. Yeah, so I just used a glue stick to glue that on there, and then I'm just going to use some regular scissors to just cut around this little really cute sticker. So, or it's not going to be a sticker anymore, but you know what I'm saying. And so it's just a leaf with a real sort of artistic ladybug on there. So then after I get all of that cut off, then I'm going to use my teeny tiny Dollar Tree scissors that I really, really love to cut the excess. You don't have to use this, of course. If you don't have them, you could just use your X-Acto knife and your cutting board. And I'm just speeding this part up, getting into these little bitty crevices and details. But I do find this very therapeutic. I love, love, love these scissors, just like I love my bone folder, y'all. Okay, so now I am using a hole punch. It's a smaller hole punch. It's not the standard size like you find at Dollar Tree. I don't remember where I got this hole punch either. And so now I'm just using a little couple of jewelry pieces that I got from Hobby Lobby. They were on sale. I usually have some, but I've used all the ones that I had before making all these DIYs. But I recently got these on sale. They were half off, so I got a set of 12 O-rings and a set of 12 lobster claw clasps, and total with all of them, so that's 24 pieces, I got for $4, which was awesome. And so I'm just putting the O-ring, I put the O-ring through the lobster claw clasp, and then I'm just squeezing the O-ring through, or put it through the hole for the charm. And now I'm just using some Dollar Tree needle nose pliers to close it all up, and then I can put it on my traveler's notebook, y'all. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna hook it on there, and it's just gonna be a cute little spring addition to the background with all the flowers. It probably would have stood out a lot better if the whole piece was a solid color, but you know, I just didn't really have anything that would really fit as a solid color. And I'm talking about spring, I guess it could, I don't know what it would be. Yeah, so I'm just moving my little clasp a little bit further away to put more pressure in a different area. And then this is how it is, y'all. So I put in there so you could see what it looks like. I put in my Tombow Mono pins. Now off camera, and you can tell from my, well, I don't know if you can tell, but in my thumbnail picture, what I did, because I really wanted to start using this traveler's notebook and the glue wasn't secure still on the front, then I just stapled the pin loops, and you can't tell unless you're looking at it really up close. So I just put like one staple at the top of the pin loop and one at the bottom on each one. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, but anyway, I'm really happy with how it looks. I couldn't think of anything else I could possibly add to this on the outside, except that I could have put the background of this, or the back of the charm, I could have put it some color back there instead of having it be white, so that if it's flipped or something, it wouldn't just have this white background. Yeah. So that is it, you guys. Now in the next video, we are going to do a lot in the inside because it's just pretty plain. I did add a couple of, now this is basically an A5, no, sorry, A6 traveler's notebook, and I did add some A6 dashboards that I made a long time ago, but we're going to really decorate this up, you guys. So thank you so much for joining me today. Stay tuned for part 2. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and comment and share. It really helps my channel a lot, and subscribe. Thank you for your ongoing support, you guys who are returning and are my subscribers. And for everyone new, join me twice a week. I have 2 Facebook groups. The one for anyone around the world is called Organized Planner Chic Crew, and there we do giveaways and try to stay in touch just about every day with posts. And then the local group is Phoenix Planner Friends for Christ. We have a meetup coming up, so check that out. If you live in the Phoenix Metro, see right there, y'all, is where it came apart, so I wound up stapling it. And then if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/organizedplannerchic. And until next time, everyone, happy planning!